All right, let us look at topic 2, which is the channel of distribution. And under the channel of distribution, we are going to be learning two lessons. We are going to be learning the definition and the different types of channels of distribution. And we are going to be learning the factors affecting the choice of a channel by manufacturers. And then after that, we are going to be looking at some questions under the topic. So let us start with the definition and the different types of channels of distribution. All right, let us look at the definition and the different types of channels of distribution. The phrase channel of distribution means the various ways by which goods are transferred from the producer to the consumer. So if we talk of the channel of distribution, we are talking of the various ways that goods are being transferred from the producer to the consumer, or the various ways that goods are being channeled from the producer to the consumer. Here, middlemen are involved to pass goods from the manufacturers to the consumers. The retailers are the connecting link between the producer and the consumer. This means the retailer is the last link in the chain of distribution between the producer and the consumer. Those who are involved in the distribution of these goods from the producer to the consumer, they are referred to as middlemen. Now, there are 4 types of channels of distribution. Let us look at them. The first type of channel of distribution we'll be looking at is where the goods leave the producer directly to the consumer. In this case, the consumer buys directly from the manufacturer. This can happen because the size of the market is very small, or production is carried out in a small scale, or goods need technical knowledge, etc. It is mostly good for goods exclusively made for one customer. Now, what I want us to understand is that there are 3 cases under which this type of distribution chain can be used. 1, where the size of the market is small. 2, when production is carried out in a large scale. For example, when you consider the case of a farmer who is producing in a very small scale, let us say the person is producing just 2 bunches of plantain in a week, the person might just decide to be supplying to consumers rather than supplying to retailers who will need to sell to the consumers, because the scale of production is actually small. Then we also have the case where the goods will need a technical knowledge. If a good needs technical knowledge, it means that the person who is buying the goods needs an explanation to know how the goods can be operated. You cannot sell those type of goods through middlemen because they might not actually have the knowledge about the product you are selling. So they cannot actually educate the consumers on how the products are being used. Now, the next channel that we'll be looking at is the case where the goods leave the producer and they are sold to the retailer, and the retailer sells to the consumer. This is good for large-scale retailers who have enough finances to buy in bulk from manufacturers, or they can be sold to the consumers by using the manufacturer's own retail outlets. Then it is also suitable for perishable items like bakery products. Now, when I was explaining the different types of home trade, we talk of wholesale trade and retail trade. I gave an explanation there that wholesalers are able to buy from the manufacturers because manufacturers always sell in bulk. If we look at this case, we said that the goods can be sold to large-scale retailers. It is because large-scale retailers have enough finances that they can actually buy or pass their command from the producer. That is why they are able to buy directly from the producers. There are three cases under which producers will sell directly to the retailers and the retailers sell to the consumers. One of the cases is where large-scale retailers are involved. The second case is where the producer is using his own outlets. What we mean here is that sometimes producers open their own retail shops that they use to sell their goods directly to the consumer. And the last case is where the good is perishable. Example is the bakery products. The next case is where the producer sells to the wholesaler sells to the retailer, and the retailer sells to the consumer. This is the longest and the most expensive channel of distribution in home trade because of the additional profit margin made by both the retailer and the wholesaler. It is a normal channel or the traditional channel of distribution. It is used because the customers are widely spread out. Now, I want us to understand that under conditions under which this channel of distribution can also be used is where the producer lacks finances to open up his own retail outlets, or where he lacks marketing skills on how to market the product. Now, what I want us to understand as far as this channel of distribution is concerned in home trade is that it is the longest channel of distribution because it involves two middlemen, and it is the most expensive. Why? Because the middlemen will need to make a profit. So as the good moves from the producer to the wholesaler will need to make profit. So he will add his profit to the price that the producer have sold to him. While when he sells to the retailer will also add his own profit margin. And finally, you will see that the price at which the consumer is getting the product is high. Standardized product is a product that, regardless of what a company produces the good, consumers regard the goods by all the companies as identical. And what we should know as far as standardized products are concerned is that they are perfect substitute, which means that you can use one in place of the other. All right, a typical example of standardized product is a fish. If several lobsters are placed in a tank, a buyer could not tell which lobster was actually caught by a given fisherman. A buyer only cares about the size and the health of the lobster and not who actually provides it. Now let us look at the last channel of distribution. Producer to agent to retailer to consumer. Now this applies only in the case of international. This is a case where a producer or manufacturer appoints an agent in a country they are exporting. The agent is responsible for the distribution of the goods exported to him. For example, exporting cars and cosmetics. So in this case, it means that the producer has an agent abroad. So they produce their goods and send to the agent. And then the agent sells to the retailer, and then the retailer sells to the consumer. In essence, it means that in the case of international trade, the agent is acting as the wholesaler.